going on, guys? And today we're going to be doing our Week 9 NFL predictions. I'm a little bit late because yesterday I got really busy and just wasn't really feeling like recording because I've been exhausted. But taking a look at last week's schedule, I went 10-5, which brings my overall record all the ways up to 64, 47, and 1, with that one tie coming in Week 1. And let's jump right into this. Starting off tonight, on Thursday, we have just absolute barn burner of a Thursday night game. We have the Eagles taking on the Texans. The Eagles I have as one of the best teams in the league right now. Jalen Hurts is playing at almost an MVP-like level. Absolutely dominated on the Steelers last week, and A.J. Brown is looking like one of the best trades that the Eagles could have ever made. The Texans, on the other hand, they got destroyed by the Titans. It was a little bit closer than people were thinking, I think, but overall, I feel like it was a destruction. Derrick Henry had 200 yards rushing on them, or on that defense, and they just got absolutely pummeled, I feel like. I'm going to go with an absolute shocker here. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win over the Texans. I think that the Texans are one of the worst teams in the NFL right now, and they're competing for a number 1 overall pick, but I just feel like the Texans are not going to win this game. Moving on to our first Sunday morning game, or Sunday afternoon game, we have the Chargers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Chargers were on a bye week last week, which I think is good for them, and I'm hoping that after the bye week, they can actually figure out what's going on with themselves. The Falcons, on the other hand, squeaked out an easy win and kind of close game against the rival Panthers and are currently leading the NFC South. I'm going to actually pick the Chargers to win this game. I think that both of these teams are very disappointing this year. The Falcons are playing a little bit up, of course, but I feel like the Chargers are very disappointing this year. And I'm going to go with the Chargers to win. I feel like Justin Herbert is just a better player than Marcus Mariota is at quarterback. And I feel like even though the Falcons' offense has been playing pretty well, and so is their defense, I feel like it's not going to be enough for them to move on and win this game. Moving on to our next game, we have the Dolphins traveling to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. The Dolphins just had a huge signing today, where they just extended their brand new pass rusher that they got in Bradley Chubb. They just extended him to a 5-year, $110 million deal, and I feel like he's going to end up destroying the Bears' offensive line. Justin Fields also got a shiny new weapon after trading away Roquan Smith to the Ravens. He got Chase Claypool from the Steelers. And I think that he is going to be playing a little bit of an impact, but I don't know if he's going to be as good as the Bears are hoping he is. So I'm going to actually go with the Dolphins here. I feel like the Dolphins secondary is a little bit better than the Bears' offense, and I think that Bradley Chubb is going to have an absolute day with that offensive line. The Bears' offensive line is really bad. So overall, I think that the Dolphins, even though it is being played in Soldier Field, the Dolphins are going to sneak out a win here. Moving on to our next game, we have the Panthers traveling to take on the Bengals. As I just mentioned, the Panthers lost to the Falcons after coming back and almost winning. All they had to do was make an extra point, and their kicker just missed. Absolutely amazing game that was last week. And the Bengals got absolutely embarrassed by the Browns. They are currently 0-3 in the division, and they're not looking like the Bengals of old. I really wanted them to succeed this year. I feel like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase deserve rings, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I'm going to go with the Bengals here to have a bounce-back game. P.J. Walker is still starting, but if the Bengals play like they did last week, they're going to get destroyed by the Panthers, who I don't even think are a good team. Moving on to our next game, we have one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL. We have the Colts taking on the New England Patriots. The Colts started Sam Ehlinger. Matt Ryan got benched for the rest of the season, mixed with an injury and a couple other things, but he's benched, essentially. And the Patriots snuck out a decent win against the Jets last week. I feel like this is going to be a very, very close game. I think that Sam Ehlinger is not good enough to win, especially against that defense. I just feel like he's not there yet. So for right now, I'm going to go with the Patriots, but I think that the Colts could actually win. Their defense played very, very well last week as soon as they got in the red zone, but before they got in the red zone, their defense was just non-existent. And Sam Ehlinger is serviceable for now, but I don't think he's going to be a franchise QB or franchise-changing quarterback. So I'm just going to go with the Patriots. I feel like Mac Jones is playing better, even though he did have a couple bad throws last week. I think he could sneak off a win here. Moving on to our next game, we have the Bills taking on the Jets in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I think that the Bills are going to win this game. The Jets got embarrassed by the Patriots last week, and the Bills competed with the Packers, which was a very good game to listen to and watch. And I think that overall the Bills are going to win this game. Josh Allen has to be your MVP candidate if it was midseason. He's playing at an absolute elite level. He looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I feel like I was getting a lot of hate that is very much deserved now for my top 10 quarterbacks list that I did before this season. And it looks like next season's top 10 list is going to be a lot different. So for right now, I'm going to have the Bills take this win here. I think it's going to be very good for them. Moving on to our next game, we have the Vikings taking on the Commanders. The Vikings look absolutely amazing right now. They're coming off of a bye week, so they're very well rested and ready to go. They're not coming off a bye week, I'm sorry. They're coming off a win against the Cardinals, which I guess is essentially a bye week. But anyways, their defense is looking awesome. Zadarius Smith is a very, very good signing by them. They also just traded for TJ Hawkinson. And yeah, I'm very excited to watch this game and see who wins. I'm gonna go with the Vikings here. I think that the Commanders' defense is not as good as it was in the past. And even though I would like the Commanders to win because I like Chase Young and I want him to succeed, I just don't see them winning here. Moving on to our next game, we have the Packers taking on the Detroit Lions. The Packers got kind of embarrassed a little bit in the first half of the Bills game last week. They did end up trying to mount a comeback, but they were just unable to get it done when it mattered most. They do look a little bit better, though. And the Lions just traded away everything. They lost last week to the Dolphins, and then this trade deadline, they traded away TJ Hawkinson for 2 fourth-round picks, and one of them is compensatory, so it could end up being as high, I believe, as a second, but the Lions just look absolutely awful. I was really hoping that after their Week 2 win that they would be able to sneak off some wins here and there, but I don't see them being able to win this game, so I'm going to go with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers needs a bounce-back game to succeed, and I think that this is going to be a game that he wins. Moving on to our next game, we have the Raiders taking on the Jags. The Raiders got absolutely destroyed by that Saints defense last week. They looked terrible. Devontae Adams had 1 catch for 3 yards. And same with Hunter Renfrow. He had 1 catch for 6. It's just awful. The Jaguars, on the other hand, got absolutely destroyed by the Broncos secondary. Trevor Lawrence is not looking like Andrew Luck anymore like he was last season. He did look really bad last season as well, but he had some moments. And this year, I just don't see any moments of him looking as good as he could be. I think that the Jags are still very good, and I don't like this game. This game is going to be one of the worst games of the week, I feel like. I'm going to go with the Jags just because they have home field advantage, but yeah, I don't know who to pick for this one. This is a battle of who wants the number 1 overall pick more, I guess. Moving on to our next game, we have a divisional game between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. The Seahawks actually kind of shocked me. They ended up beating the Giants last week, which I thought was a very good game for them. And the Cardinals got destroyed by the Vikings. I keep using the word destroyed because for most of the game, the Vikings were absolutely dominating on the Cardinals. And then there was a last, 10-minute effort in the fourth where the Cardinals looked like they were coming back. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. The Cardinals look awful. Their secondary is terrible. Their front 7 is bad. Their offense is playing bad. DeAndre Hopkins is nice, but, yeah, they just look not good. Moving on to our next game, we have the Rams taking on the Buccaneers, and this is a game that I think could be a toss-up because both of these teams are bad. Last year was a very good divisional game between the Rams and Bucs, and this year is not good at all for either of these teams. Matthew Stafford is throwing to Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee and nobody else, and Tom Brady is just falling on his face. I'm going to say who I'm going to pick, but I feel like I'm regretting it. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think that Tom Brady's just washed, and as long as Matthew Stafford can be even serviceable, I think that the Bucs offense is going to be swarmed by the Rams defense, and I think I just have to go with the Rams here. The Bucs offensive line is terrible, and their run game is also really bad. Yeah, I'm not confident in this one, but I'm going to go with the Rams. And then moving on to our 2 primetime games, we have the Titans taking on the Chiefs. The Titans coming off of a close victory against the Texans last week. They looked pretty good. Malik Willis doesn't look like he's ready to be a franchise quarterback yet, but nobody's expecting him to play franchise quarterback. And Derrick Henry also looks like a beast, which I can't wait. And the Chiefs are coming off of a bye week after being beat by the Bills a couple weeks ago. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here because this is being played in Arrowhead, and I think that you can't vote against Patrick Mahomes when he is in Arrowhead. I think that he is going to be determined to win, especially after coming off of a loss before the bye week. And yeah, the Chiefs are going to win this game, I feel like. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is about to have an absolute torch of a game. The Titans secondary isn't the worst secondary in the league, but it's not great. And that pass rush is also not great either. But I just feel like the Chiefs deserve a win here. They need a bounce-back game. And then our final game of the week, we have the Ravens taking on the Saints. This is a game of which team wants to show up. The Ravens last week beat the Buccaneers and looked very, very good. Lamar Jackson came back to his MVP-like form. And the Saints shut out the Raiders, which is not really that much of an accomplishment. I don't know who to pick here. I'm going to go with the Ravens just because I feel like the Ravens will show up a little bit more. They did just get some shiny new weapons in Roquan Smith on defense, but it also came at a loss with Rashad Bateman being out for the rest of the season, needing foot surgery. So I feel like this is going to be a lot harder of a game, or to predict. But I think the Ravens might be able to sneak off a win here. And with that being said, here's my predictions. I have the Eagles, Chargers, Dolphins, Bengals, Packers, Patriots, Bills, Vikings, Jags, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs, and Ravens winning this week's games. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Take it easy.